This video is dedicated to Antonio Rouse. Hello all and welcome to another Historic Brawl video. Not sure if Historic Brawl is actually available by the time you'll be seeing this, but for all of you that are interested, it's a good one to watch. Beledros Witherbloom this time, a very popular new commander. And don't think I've ever played this Historic Brawl video on the channel before, but it is pretty simple, as my decks tend to be. Lots and lots of ramp in mana dorks and cultivates and things like that. We've got some enchant lands, Wolfwillow Haven, there's another one here somewhere, Gift of Paradise. And then there are mana rocks as well for ramping with, so yeah, it's pretty much just ramp like crazy so that we can do all this high-end expensive stuff. Speaking of the high-end expensive stuff, Thorn Mammoth, really good removal for us. Beanstalk Giant, a big creature and ramp in one card. We've got some Planeswalkers, Garrett Cursed Huntsman, Liliana Dreadhorde General, some nice card draw on a Planeswalker as well. Uvenwald Hydra is another big creature and we can use that to grab ourselves, where is it? Our beloved Field of the Dead. We can also grab Field of the Dead with Scape Shift, so if we've got multiple lands in play we can swap. It's likely that all of them will be basics, or a lot of them at least, so we can swap all of those out for 7 different land names, and one of those will include Field of the Dead if we don't have it already. They'll all trigger field when they come out, and yeah, our opponent will have a lot of zombies to deal with them. So that can take us around to card draw. I think we've got Toski, which will be really good with those zombies of course, as well as our other token generators. Beast Whisperer replaces Soul of the Harvest. I am recording this after I've recorded the game, so you'll see some Soul of the Harvest play and I decide to swap it out for this. Harmonise, just draw 3 cards. A little bit of card draw in the form of Solemn Simulacrum, although that is a ramp spell more than anything. We do have access to Phyrexian Arena in this format as well. A single, I think this is the only tutor in the deck, and it is a Grim Tutor, so that just acts as another copy of every card in the deck, if you want to think of it that way. Also have access to Signing Blood now as well. Village Rites, we do have a little bit of token generation, obviously from our commander and from some of the other things in the deck, so this can get rid of one of those and draw us some cards at instant speed. Return of the Wild Speaker as well. And Nissa Vital Force can act as card draw on landfall. Little bit of landfall stuff in the deck. Scoot Swarm is in there as well. It is pretty much just green and black good stuff in this deck. Got a few sweepers as well, of course, in the form of there's Ugin the Spirit Dragon, which comes in very handy. Blood on the Snow, again, recording this after the play session, but decided to up the number of snow basics. So as you can see, it's 6 to 2 there, and 8 to 3 on the forests. That is because on the last line of text there, we can reanimate something if we've got a lot of snows in play. And then the only other sweeper, I think, is the Extinction event. Yeah, so we can hopefully wipe the board with that. Might leave our opponent with a creature or two, but typically speaking, we can wipe the board there. And other than that, yeah, it's ramp, card draw, sweepers, and then we've just got spot removal. So there's things like Plaguecrafter, Soul Shatter, Murderous Rider, I mean there's a million different bits of spot removal in here, Assassin's Trophy. Kenrith's Transformation is a good pacifism effect that cantrips. So our opponent is forced to sacrifice their own commander if they want to replay that, or just get rid of the transformation of course. But yeah, I've played it a few times off camera and it is pretty good. We can ramp very consistently, often end up losing our entire hand doing that, which is the only downside, but hopefully can get into something like Return of the Wild Speaker and refill our hand straight away. Lots of incremental card drawing here as well, so hopefully you all enjoy the games and I'll see you in a few seconds. Okay, we've got a couple of lands there, so one more and we can get into all of that ramp. We are up against Cradle of Baldur's Gate. Don't think I've ever played against this commander before. Yeah, we'll keep that. Hopefully be able to scry a land to the top. And there we go, got a Castle of Lochthwain. We've got a swamp available to us to get that in untapped as well. Yeah, don't think it really matters which land we go for there. So we'll get the swamp in, go for the Sign in Blood, draw a couple of cards, and we are back at a full grip there. Mind Stone from our opponent. That is a tap land, so we'll get in the Castle Lochthwain, and I think it can be Cultivate this turn. Argument to be made for the Replicating Ring. We'll get a couple of Snow Basics. And it's a Ghostly Pilferer from our opponent, not all that worried about that one. Yeah, if we get an untapped land in, play the one that our opponent knows about, we can play both the Replicating Ring and the Heraldic Banner. And we will name green with that. Got a lot of black-green tokens in this deck, but we do have some green tokens and creatures in our hands, so we'll name green. And there we see our opponent's commander. So maybe we just go for our commander at this point. They do have blue held up, so maybe they'll have a counter spell. Let's go for Vivian and we'll give that vigilance.
The arc book quivers with excitement.
And then if we go for this land, we can play the Roiling Regrowth. That got down pretty quick, so maybe they don't have any removal. Okay, it's a Soul Shatter that they're going for, so we'll have to get rid of our Vivian. That would have answered the Beledros as well. Now discarding a card so that the Pilferer can't be blocked. And they discarded a Watery Grave, by the way. So hitting us for 2. Oh, and I completely forgot to go for the Roiling Regrowth there. Let's see if they can counter Garruk. Alright, landing that surprisingly, so let's go for the Prosperous Innkeeper and then we'll make a treasure token with that, make some wolf tokens, and get this tap land into play as well. And then we can swing in because we've got Vigilance, don't need to worry about holding that back. Hit our opponent for 4. And there is a Slither Wisp. Whenever you cast another spell that has flash, draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. I do need to make a flash deck at some point, I think. Discarding a Yuan Ti Fangblade. And yeah, able to get both of those through.
I didn't like you anyway.
So how's about we go Garruk's Uprising, and then it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, so we can still go for Beledros. And we will draw a card with that because we control a creature with power 4 or greater. We'll draw one here with the Beledros as well. Drawing a card with the Ghostly Pilferer. Okay. And then we could untap here. And get some more mana into play. Don't actually mind that, I don't think, while my opponent's tapped out. So let's go Beanstalk Giant. And yeah, we don't control a regular forest, so we'll go for regular forest. Just prepping myself for Field of the Dead there. And then we'll go Leafkin Druid. And again, hold up the Roiling Oracle, which we should have cast by now. Hold up the Assassin's Trophy as well. Swing in with our big creatures. And they block with the Gadwick, which is fine. So we've got them on a decent clock here. Gaining a life whenever a pest comes into play, of course. And then that is Vraska's Contempt, so... yeah, nothing we're going to do about that. I don't think we'll just let them exile our commander. Discarding a card in order to make this unblockable. Okay, and letting them swing in with this because they can pay 2 to make it unblockable if they like. Alright, and that makes them tap out, so it's not likely that they'll keep us from getting Beledros in again. So do we just take the hit here? I think I'll actually go for Assassin's Trophy here onto this thing, because it is a heavy hitter. Alright, and a bit more life gain for us. I think we go straight in for Beledros. And they get to draw a card with Ghostly Pilferer whenever we cast a spell from the command zone. We'll draw a card with Garrick's Uprising, gain a bit of life. There is a forest for us. So let's go Bastion of Remembrance, make another token, and get some more aristocrat stuff on the go. They might wipe the board, we can gain a nice chunk of life. And then we'll just swing in with everything apart from the Prosperous Innkeeper. Deciding to block our pest token. So going down to 10, we'll gain a couple of life there, one from the pest and one from the bastion. And a Concoct Surveil 3. Return a creature card from graveyard to the battlefield, so that is probably the Slitherwisp. Throwing 2 lands in the bin with the Surveil, keeping 1 card on top. And deciding to scoop at that, so they don't fancy their odds of being able to do anything against us going wide on them. Let's play another one. Alright, game 2, got a decent number of lands, some removal. Bit of ramp, it's pretty slow ramp though. Let's see who we are up against. That's Nethrite. Apex of Death is a pretty scary one. Yeah, let's risk a keep on that one. Getting to another land, so let's just throw down a tap land and pass. Okay, the Cultivate is quite nice there. We'll just go for a Snow and pass at that. Doubt we're going to be using Baleful Mastery, but you never know. Grisly Salvage from our opponent, getting rid of their Eerie Ultimatum, which is fine with me. We see the back of Grim Tutor, Mausoleum Secrets, Eerie Ultimatum, Polukranos is in the bin, which is noteworthy. And they play themselves a Marauding Blight Priest as well. Is that worth blowing up? Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1. Maybe, but I'll leave it for now. So with this, we'll get the pathway out, because I'm always conscious of getting as many different types of lands as we can, because we do have field in this deck, of course. Whacking us for 3, going for a Temple of Silence. And then Lurrus of the Dream Den. Don't think they can grab anything with Lurrus of the Dream Den, no. So let's just drop the land that they know about, and we can go for... yeah, we'll go Llanowar Visionary, draws us a card, ramps us a bit, might get some removal out of their hand, and we can still hold up the Baleful Mastery here. Okay, Blood Artist, I wouldn't mind wiping the board at this point. Yeah, if they gain life here, then we'll lose 1 life. They don't have infinite or anything, do they? Yeah, destroy a creature or planeswalker. I thought they might point removal at the Llanowar Visionary. So yeah, let's just allow that. In fact, let's get rid of Lurrus before they're obviously looking to recast the Blood Artist there. So we'll give them a card and get rid of Lurrus at the same time. Lurrus does have lifelink, so not only would it get the Blood Artist back, but it would have us lose life to the Marauding Blight Priest. And with that we can drop the Cogler up to 6 mana and get rid of that thing, and now they need to be looking at dealing with a Cogler. So there's Nethroi. There is our Field of the Dead, which will not be active unfortunately. Yeah, if that was an untapped land we could go for Garruk's Uprising and Binding of the Old Gods. Either way I think we're doing this. And then we can go Agadim's Awakening if we want to start triggering the Field of the Dead next turn. Don't think there's anything in the graveyard worth grabbing back, just the Llanowar Visionary. They get a field of their own. And a Polukranos as well, exiling some stuff. We'll just grab a forest with the Binding of the Old Gods. It's noteworthy they did exile their Nethroi from the graveyard there, so putting it in the graveyard, ready to exile it with Polukranos. So maybe we're in line for a board wipe here then, which suggests that I might keep this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're only 1 away from getting the Cogler back with it. And we will get a Mana Dork with the Blood in the Snow here. Escape cost is 6 other cards from your graveyard. They have 2 in the graveyard at the moment, so... yeah, let's go Blood in the Snow. Should attack him first, just in case they let it through. They might be worried about some kind of buff. Not worried about losing their Polukranos, apparently. So we'll go Blood in the Snow here. Destroy all creatures. Bring back Llanowar Visionary. Make a land for the turn. Start triggering Field of the Dead from this point. And a Witch's Oven, so they obviously run the Witch's Oven combo. they play out a creature here, then we could get back. Alright, that's Belagab Recovery, so Eerie Ultimatum to worry about now. They need 5, 6, 7 pieces of coloured mana. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, so yeah, we do have to worry about that next turn. Not too bad an Eerie Ultimatum though. So let's go for the Beledros. And we can go for the Bastion of Remembrance as well. Then we'll offer up the trade for the zombie token. Gain a little bit of life there. I'm just wondering if we should untap with Beledros here. Yeah, we can ramp a bit. If we go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, we will not have enough for Return of the Wild Speaker as well. Yeah, we can do Return of the Wild Speaker at the end of our opponent's turn, I suppose. Might wait for Kogler to come back into play before we do that though. Going for the Gilded Goose. Alright, and they decide to scoop at that. I think, I was just trying to work out there, that would be 3, 4, 8 power we've got, and then 3, 6, 9, 12 is 20. So, yeah, we might have been able to go wide on them there. I don't know what creatures they would have played. I'm surprised they didn't go Eerie Ultimatum and try and get... Does Polukranos just enter with... Yeah, enters with 6 counters on it, so... Maybe they didn't count their mana out correctly, and they couldn't go Eerie Ultimatum there. That was 4, 5, 6, and yeah. That might have been what they did, played out the Gilded Goose when they should have just gone for the Eerie Ultimatum. We'll play another one. Decent hand there, plenty of ramp for us. And up against Muldrotha the Gravetide this time. That's a pretty scary one. So I'll have to try and outramp our opponent. We do have 2 tap lands, unfortunately. We can get this out as an untapped land, and I think we'll have to do that. That's a Search for Azcanta for our opponent. I think that is worth going for a Rex Sage on, because they can load up their graveyard with that. But first we'll go for the Mind Stone. A Cultivate will further fix their colours and ramp them a little bit. They do put an Alrund's Epiphany in the bin. Okay, another untapped land is good. Gonna have to take a break from the ramp, unfortunately. Want to get rid of that Search for Azcanta. They will be able to replay it with the Muldrotha, but it's less filtering for them, and it's less putting into the graveyard. Filtering things into the graveyard, so hopefully they'll draw lots of high CMC stuff here. Only 1 land away from their commander. Palaka Predation. Target opponent reveals their hand, choose a card with CMC 3 or greater and discard it. So they've obviously got another land to play, I would think, because not playing that as a land. I dare say Ugin goes down here, and it does. Alright, more ramp for us, so we can do both Gifts of Paradise and the Beanstalk Giant, I think. So there's the Muldrotha, and are we going to get into any removal? Unfortunately not. So I think we just go Beledros, and we can get down Soul of the Harvest here as well, maybe. And no instant speed removal in our opponent's hand because that went straight through the upkeep there. Could have Ravenous Chupacabra and the like though. Phyrexian Scriptures, +1 counter on a creature and it becomes an artifact, and then destroy all non-artifact creatures, so yeah, we'll see a board wipe next turn. Then replaying that Search for Azcanta again straight away, so maybe should have held on to the Rex Age for something like this. Okay, Cogler. We can fight the Muldrotha with. Is it worth throwing Cogler away? Yeah, let's go for the Cogler. We'll draw a card with the Soul of the Harvest and get rid of the Muldrotha here. And there is a land, so we can go for Into the North this turn as well. Turn everything in sideways towards them, deal a nice chunk of damage before our entire board goes down. So Phyrexian Scriptures, destroying all the creatures, our commander can go back in the command zone, we get some life from the pests as well. And it is exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards when that goes to levels 3. Oh, Kiora Best the Sea God. Yeah, so maybe this is just a Saga deck then. Play a land, and can we go Beanstalk Giant and Garruk's Uprising? Yeah, we can, so we'll go for the Uprising. And that can return, it's too late to return a permanent from Graveyard's hand. Could recast the Beledros and grab it back with this though, if it goes down again. Tapping down all of our stuff here. And Muldrotha comes back out for us again. So obviously they can recast the Phyrexian Scriptures again. They've now got a fetch land in the bin as well. The A8 swings in towards us, knocks us down to 11. We've got a means of drawing a lot of cards there, so I think we go for this. Okay, there's Kemrith's Transformation. That would be a really good one, I think. But we're not going to have... Yeah, we could chump with the Elysian Caryatid, couldn't we? So let's go for the Castle Garenbrig. Kemrith's Transformation onto Muldrotha. Okay, and Garruk is really good, so let's go for the Mana Dork here. And that can chump the A8 that swings in. Hopefully they can't remove the Elysian Caryatid. Oh, but with Kiora Best the Sea God they can just gain control of that, alright. So I don't think there's anything that we could have done there. Maybe just play a couple of chump blockers. Would have been the thing to do. But then they could have got one of the Sagas out of the bin. I think we were looking pretty bad there, so... But yeah, cool. Muldrotha list. That's a good game to our opponent. We'll play another one. Yeah, getting into some decent opening hands to start these games off with. Up against Reese the Redeemed. And yeah, I think we definitely keep that one. So out comes Reese on turn 1. Not going to be able to do anything about that. We're just going to have to rely on the fact that we're wiping the board, I think. And it's an Elves deck. Elvish Warmaster coming into play. Best wipe the board quickly if we can. Name black on the Cold Steel Heart. And then an elf comes into play. The Elvish Warmaster does trigger on elf tokens coming into play, so coming in with another elf. Let's get the Solemn Simulacrum into play, try and keep them from swinging in with too many creatures. A snow-covered swamp. We want as many snows in play as possible for the blood on the snow, so that we can maybe reanimate something when we cast that. Making another couple of elves here and keeping cards in their hand for the most part. Search your library for a forest or plains, put it into hand. And not swinging in with anything, that's really good. That keeps us... let's see here, just looking at the Murderous Rider. And we could still get the Llanowar Visionary into play, so... yeah, let's go for that. Draw into Overgrown Tomb. Get the Elvish Warmaster out of the way because that can buff their entire army and we don't want that. Also, it's making them a bunch of elves. Just trying to buy ourselves time at this point. Anointed Priest. And a Skyclave Apparition, so getting rid of some mana from us, not really too worried about that. Because we've got plenty of mana to play with. Heraldic Banner. We'll just name green with that. And then we'll get down the castle. We can go for Murderous Rider into play. And more ramp in the Arcane Signet. And again, pass it over. And just hope that there's no overrun effect. We'd have to worry about Return of the Wildspeaker, I think. Or a Reverent Hoplite. That's going to make a lot of tokens, so maybe not an elf deck, just a generic token build, perhaps. Strixhaven Stadium doesn't look all that promising. Yeah, we can afford to go Garruk's Uprising first here. I don't think it makes any difference because it'll trigger a draw when it enters if we've got Beledros in play, but we'll go for that first. And just another land, so let's get the tap land into play. And again, just hoping that we can hold them at bay here. There is a Prism Realm, so yeah, we're just going to have to recast Beledros here, I think. Because we don't have a means of breaking the Prism Realm and getting our commander back into play. Scrying something to the bottom, so I think that suggests that they are looking for an overrun effect. Not trying to go wide on us just yet. Yeah, we can afford to go Strixhaven Stadium here. And get down the Beledros again. Draw into another land. Yeah, I'm not too sure about Soul of the Harvest in this deck. I can't remember if I've got Beast Whisperer. Maybe Beast Whisperer would be better if it's not in here already. I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't want to go down to 10. Although we do have lifelink and some pest tokens to block with, so maybe we should. No, I think I'll play more conservatively. Doubling up the tokens with the Reese, so definitely in need of a tutor or a board wipe now. Gaining a bunch of life from Anointer Priest. I think they can maybe start trying to go wide on us here. Although they'll only get a few points of damage in and we've got a lifelinker, so maybe not the best idea. Well, there's lifelink for us. So play Soul of the Harvest to draw a card. And there is a board wipe, so 0 is even. So yeah, we'll get rid of a few creatures here, unfortunately. But we have to do it, I think. So leaving our lifelinkers in play, thankfully. Go for the Shadow Spear and equip the Shadow Spear. We'll start dealing some damage to our opponent here, I think. Getting into a board wipe at just the right time there. Making it difficult for our opponent to swing back and knock counters off the Strixhaven Stadium as well. Only 2 cards in hand for them. And there's another token generator. So a Seeker's Chariot making a couple of cat tokens. And then they can put 3 into another elf, so they could still get a big board if we can't deal with the Reese. And they're nearly swinging in, but thankfully for them, they did not accidentally swing in. A Cogler, so we can put Summoning Sickness on the Reese. And then start swinging in to blow up the Seeker's Chariot. We'll also draw a card here. So I'll definitely go for that. And they decide to scoop to that, wow. I don't think we were that close to beating them. We're pretty much just swinging in the air with Beledros. And we're a good few turns away from beating them with that, 5 turns to be exact, so... Yeah, not too sure they should have scooped there, but maybe they don't have many board wipes in the deck and it's just a pure aggro list.